been planning and you know, like a very wise old man once said, shit happens.
Yep.
But it happens at the fucking worst time, you know, like, you know, 6,000 Ks or so through the trip, and Bruce's bike decided to give up the ghost. And as Bruce has said before, just some random shit. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, the bike was running fine. It wasn't if it was playing up or missing or losing power. It just, like that.
Yep.
I flicked the switch. The bike said fuck it and flicked the switch, and it happens, you know, like it happens to every bike, you know. And Bruce is reluctant to put it on Facebook, and I understand that, because I would have been pissed off. I probably would have done me lolly far worse than Bruce did.
Well, you did say to me, Tony, that I've helped you get it quite well, because I would have had an absolute
A major meltdown.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I would have done the same. I would have had a big meltdown because you feel fucked up because shit's gone wrong. And, you know, it's out of our control, it's out of Bruce's control. And like I said, you just got to think to yourself, well, it happens. You know? And it happened. But, I mean, it wasn't the end of my trip, but it was the end of Bruce's trip, which I was more upset for Bruce. Not for Bruce, not at Bruce. And, but anyway, be that as it may, we still, up until that stage, we had a fucking awesome trip.
Yeah.
And Bruce, well, I still had a good trip after that, but Bruce had an awesome trip up until that stage. And there's still memories you can't replace.
No.
So, you know, like, and you just got to take that as part of the experience. Just like, well, the bike shit itself. That was part of the, remember we went on that trip, in a couple of years, so remember we went on that trip and the bike shit itself just out of Port Augusta.
Oh.
And, you know, it'll be part of the you know, just something you'll you look at years go by, and you'll say, well, yeah, it happened.
Look, the way I see it, Tony, it was shit happens. It just happened. But we saw 90% of what we wanted to see. We achieved what we wanted to do. This, you know, we thought going out of LA, that was just an added extra that we thought about a little bit later.
A little bit, yeah.
But, you know, we achieved. We came down this. We rode all the way up to Darwin. We've come down the centre of Australia.
Exactly, right through the centre.
So,
and when the bike decided it didn't want to be on this planet anymore,
yeah,
we were nearly at the bottom. So,
well,
you know, and so you got most of that through, so that's fine, you know, like, be that as it may. And,
but
so from there,
you continued on with yours.
I continued on with mine,
and
I kept it as, you know, I didn't say anything, and I waited, nobody said anything about how come Bruce is not in this day, or how come you haven't mentioned Bruce. Nobody said a thing yet. So, well, actually I haven't gone to that part of the trip. So,
yeah.
You know, so I'm really up to...
But you've been putting on Facebook also.
Yeah, I've been putting on Facebook.
You've gone down and done this and done that.
And put some photos.
And nobody actually mentioned anything.
No one said anything, so I'm not saying nothing. So, you know, so that day, you know, Bruce went to the motel that I was staying at. I mean, I was there for 2 nights. Bruce only stayed for 1. So the next day was a rest day. Well, it was supposed to be a rest day. The next day, I rode from there down to Port Pirie. And as I said in other videos, you need to look up a page on Facebook called Shit Towns of Australia. It's funny, it is fucking hilarious. And they always put up there, you know, like, they give reviews on different towns and what happens there. And, you know, Port Pirie was voted as the shittest town in Australia by people on this page. And it's not a true reflection of the place. I actually found Port Pirie to be quite nice.
Oh, it's just me, can we get to it? Keep going.
Okay, yeah, I like it. You need to put your mind. Yeah, Port Pirie was actually quite a nice little town. From, you know, it's in an industrial town. You can tell riding into it. You can tell why it gets a bad name, because when you're riding into it, you look at it and you think, oh, geez, it looks like a grungy fucking industrial town, and it is. It's an industrial town. But then when you ride into the centre of Port Pirie, it is quite nice. It's very pleasant. So I got a few photos from down in there, and then headed out, and I had to go to Snowtown, because before we went away, I saw the thing on Crimes That Shook Australia about the Snowtown murders, the serial killer. That you know, you had 8 bodies in barrels in the bank in Snowtown. And I had to go down there. I went down to Snowtown and parked out in front of the bank and got a photo there. and took a couple of other photos in Snowtown and then rode back. So all up, I think that day I rode 375 kilometres.
And that was a rest day?
That was a rest day. The following day was a ride down to Adelaide, and that was only 304 kilometres. So that's to my accommodation. So that was a little bit of an eye-opener. Well, not an eye-opener, you know, like when you ride into the city, like my accommodation was a bit out of the city. It was north of, well, so it was north of Glenelg.
Yeah.
But I think I went straight to Adelaide.
Harley Heaven.
Harley Heaven in Adelaide. Prince Stephen's motorcycle, whatever. Harley Heaven. So I went there before I went to my accommodation. So I text Bruce. I was supposed to text Bruce when I come into town because I was going to stop and get the usual photo of the bike at the sign, but there was no sign when you go into Adelaide. There's no sign. Big sign says Adelaide that you can pull into and take photos. It's got a sign that says Welcome to Adelaide, but it's on the M2 like a motorway, and you can't pull over and take photos. So I never got that. So I couldn't text Bruce. So I texted him when I got there, and Bruce wanted down from his accommodation, which was nearby, and we spent more money for another T-shirt. So I've got a T-shirt from Darwin, I've got a T-shirt from Alice Springs, and a T-shirt from Adelaide.
I don't think I actually bought. I didn't buy a T-shirt from Adelaide.
You didn't get a T-shirt from Adelaide?
No, because when I caught up with you, I wanted to duck out the back to get some photos of the bike because I was organising freight back to New South Wales, and I just must have not worried about it and forgot about it.
And forgot all about it. Didn't get your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, so I know I got a T-shirt and a few other bits and bobs, and Namby Hill was through from there to Broken Hill. And that wasn't a bad ride. It was a nice ride up from there, but I ran into some rain. Just I don't know, probably an hour north of Adelaide. The next day, like overnight, it started raining, and it rained half the night, and there's a fair bit of water laying around. Actually, at the intersection, there was traffic lights near where I was staying. There's water about 6 inches deep flowing down the road there. So I thought, okay, today's going to be interesting. So I put my wet weather gear on, wore my jacket's waterproof, I put my wet weather pants on, got on the bike, and headed out in the rain. And it was steady, but it sort of backed off a little bit. For a while there, it was just light rain. It didn't actually stop all the way from Broken Hill to Cobar, but it was just light for a while. And all of a sudden, it got heavy and heavier and heavier, continuously. And got to the stage where the water started getting in behind my goggles. So I had goggles that go over the top of my glasses. And because there's a slight gap between the top of the goggles and the helmet, the water gets in there and it runs down, and it was starting to fog up inside of the goggles. I pulled over probably 2 or 3 times to try and clear it and wipe them, but as soon as you put them back on, start riding, they fog again. And I think I made mention there at one stage that scuba divers could go and get fucked. Well and truly fucked, because you see when you get in the water, that golly inside the helmet, wash it, then rinse it out, stops them fogging. Bullshit. They still fogged. It was bad, and the rain got heavier and heavier, and I had to slow down a little bit because I had trouble seeing. I couldn't see where I was going sometimes, and so I'd pull over, clear my goggles, get back on the road again. Got to the stage where it got that bad, I nearly went off the road. Seriously, nearly went off the road. It scared the fuck out of me. So I took my goggles off, put them on top of my helmet, and the rain just hit me in the face. I thought, fuck it, that's how I'm riding to fucking Cobar. And the rain backed off a little bit, which was good, and it got heavy again. So I got to Cobar, it was still raining, it was saturated, everything was wet. Like wet weather gear, I mean, anyone that rides with wet weather gear knows it's not 100% waterproof. You ride long enough and it'll get in. My jeans were fucking wet, my ass was wet, my balls were wet, my shirt was soaked. My feet were saturated, there was water in my boots, squelching in the boots.
So that wasn't a highlight of the trip then?
Wasn't a highlight. That day you can go and get fucked. I had 16 days Well, actually, only 15 riding. That one day from fucking Broken to a Govar could get well and truly fucked. And
then a good ride home the next day.
Good ride home the next day. I had a good time, wandered around Broken Govar while it was still raining, and then it backed off. By the time I had dinner, it was stopped. And the next day I got up and there was hardly, there was clouds, but there was a lot of blue sky, so I left early. Actually, I was out of there at 7:15 and it was still darkish. I didn't realise it was still so dark, but I just took it nice and easy for probably the first 30 or 40 kilometres until it got a bit brighter, and had a good trip home. It was a wonderful trip home from there. It was just because I wanted to get home. I mean, even as much as I enjoyed the trip, there's still, like I say, there's no place like home. And got home and dropped like a road on wet roads for half the trip. The roads were wet. Well, where it rained during the night, and then the clouds fucked off, and because it's not so hot, it didn't dry out so quick. But I had a really good ride home. Really good ride home.
So what was your highlight? No?
The whole trip?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's be several. The highlight, Devil's Marbles was one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Devil's Marbles definitely a highlight, and I think the ride between Barcaldine and Mount Isa. Was it Barcaldine?
No, Cloncurry.
Cloncurry. What the
Yeah,
fuck's Barcaldine? That's in Northern Territory.
Yeah, Barcaldine. Went through that.
No,
yeah,
Cloncurry.
Cloncurry to Mount Isa.
Mount Isa. That was such a nice section of road.
And that's, if you remember, that was so beautiful, and all of a sudden, you get close to Mount Isa, come over the hill, and there's that fucking stack.
That smokestack. That's the we thought it was cloud. It wasn't cloud. It was fucking smoke.
Yeah. You can see it a couple of k's out.
And I could smell it.
Yeah.
I could smell the place. So.
Yeah, definitely. Devil's Marbles, Daily Waters.
Daily Waters was a good one.
And also, the whole trip was to go to Darwin.
Well, basically, it was the top end. Yeah. Head up the top end. I've never been up there. So, I can say, honestly, now, the only capital city in Australia I've not been to is in Tasmania. So, I've been through them all now. So, pardon me.
Oh, look, I think the whole trip was just...
The whole trip was great.
Awesome. It was just
I enjoyed it.
Little places here and there. Like, we pulled into Longreach the next morning, went and had a look at the big Qantas plane, the Qantas Museum there.
Yeah.
It wasn't open, but we had a look around there.
Had a look around.
Again. Coming out of, where was it? Clonmala in Queensland. And, probably the first two cops we saw.
Yeah.
We didn't see many of them on the trip.
No, seen fuck all cops. Seen a couple in the territory, but they're in 4-wheel drives. Even though they did have radar, they don't give a shit.
No.
They don't give a shit. Like, even in Outback Queensland, there's places that we were doing 120 and 110 zone. So they had a copper or two go past. They don't give a shit.
Also, one thing I remember, when we at Barclay Homestead talked to them, they were telling us about the road conditions because of the big wet they've had.
Yeah,
the Barclay Homestead was cut off for 9 days. I remember the girl telling us that. But is the way they'd set up their every time you come up to roadworks, that you were well in advance of where it was.
You knew that if
some of them were pretty bloody awful.
Roads of Maritime or whatever they call themselves these days here took a page out of their book, it'd be heaps better because you knew when the shit was coming. Not like here they have rough service and then all of a sudden bang, you're into the fucking potholes or rough road. Up there you get plenty of warning.
Yeah.
And you know exactly where the damage is because they have little signs on the side of the road, little red signs that they peg into the side of the road. Yeah. So you know exactly where the potholes are. So, that was good. I thought that was brilliant.
In the roads themselves, coming down the centre of Australia, some of those roads, they're beautiful. They are beautiful, some of them.
There's a little bit of damage in some of the ones further up, but that's when they had that rain, that cyclone that came through across the coast, and that big wet weather depression. That's what cut off Barclay and So, but there was a little bit of damage in some places, but other than that, you couldn't fault the roads. The roads were brilliant. So much so, like in some of the footage, particularly in between Longreach and Mount Isa?
Yeah.
We're riding there for fucking I was at some stage riding for 5 kilometres with my hands in my lap.
Yeah.
And just steering with your butt, like moving the bike, but the roads were flat, smooth, and you could virtually ride with no hands. I think the longest I did was about 6.5 kilometres.
Yeah.
Just with your hands in your lap. It gives your shoulders a rest, it gives your hands a rest. It was good. It was good. The road surprised me. Like, the RMS could take a leaf out of books of other places because some of the Outback roads here are fucking disgraceful, and you cross the border, it's totally different. So,
I mean, even like, as we said before, our night in Cooper Pedy, that was a highlight for us.
That was a highlight.
The local entertainment.
If you could call it a highlight, yes, definitely. That one was strange. Like,
and of course, the low light is what happened with me with my bike, but.
But like you said, if it had happened 4 or 5 days earlier, that might have been a different thing. But you still got done what you wanted to achieve. There was a go up through Darwin and a ride down through the centre of the country. So we got that part done.
But in saying that, it's when people think about it, and oh well, that's just bad luck, or they might turn and say, yeah, typical bloody Harley breakdown or whatever. When they picked up my bike and I went down to Adelaide the next day, wasn't on my way to Adelaide with a tow truck driving my bike in the back, and as we come along on the side of a road, there was a lot of people on the side of the road, and their family, and next was their car, Mitsubishi Triton, fully engulfed in flames. They had their camper trailer, kids' bikes on the camper trailer. That was about to go up as well, and I'm thinking like, they're about to lose a hell of a lot more
than what you lost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's just basically, that has killed their holiday.
Well,
that might have been their one holiday of the year. I don't know, but,
It could have been their holiday of a lifetime, and now they're fucked. So.
But what I'll find is when things like that happen, as Tony said, and I didn't put it out there because the thing is,
idiots that like to...
You get negative people, negative points. Yeah. You get people that turn around and say, oh, this is what's wrong with the bike, this is what's happening. They've got no idea.
No idea.
So...
Not a clue. And they'll say, like fucking... Oh, like you said, the naysayers, typical Harley.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to break down. No, they don't. I've seen more fucking Ducatis on the side of the road than I have Harleys.
Oh, it's just... It can happen to your bloody car that you drive down the road.
Exactly.
That's one of those things, so...
Exactly. So, it's just the way it is.
But...
And it's life, you move on, and it's a big ride. I mean, I've seen other people post that they've done more. One guy I saw online said that he did 10,500 Ks not long ago. I don't know over what time, but...
Yeah, exactly.
It's
each into their own.
Each to their own. I mean, for us, that was a big ride.
Yeah, it was.
It was a big ride for us. So,
because there was a couple of massive big days in that.
Three big days, three huge days, and I think we did those days quite well.
Yeah.
Much better than I anticipated. I thought we were going to be fucked trying to ride 10 hours in a day. But we managed it. We did it. We did it quite easily in the end, I thought.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think it helped that, apart from this second one, the other 2 days in the Northern Territory, I think it helped that we were able to do that 130 Ks an hour too.
Oh shit, that did help because that you've only got to look.
Yeah.
If you're riding for 6 hours, 7 hours, and you're doing 130 as opposed to 110.
Yeah.
That's 20 kilometres per hour. So that's 120 kilometres you're going to be. There's an hour you've saved in the end. So, and we rode more than 7 hours. So, so it does save a lot of time. A lot of time. So,
but to give an update from my bike is it's actually on its way back home now, so I should get that hopefully tomorrow, day after. Then I'll just give it a clean down, park it in the garage. I think we're nearly in mid-June now anyway, so I'll leave it in the garage for a couple of weeks and I'll contact the local bike dealer and only guess.
The question needs to be asked.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Oh, shit yes.
In a heartbeat. Oh. I would. If I had the money, I'd do it again next week.
I wouldn't even take a heartbeat. I'll be there. Your bags are packed.
I would do it again. I loved it. But the thing is, and one thing I was only talking about this morning, we planned this perfectly because after I left Adelaide, a day or so later they got storms. They got pretty bad storms down there. There was a lot of rain out west, with that rain system that followed me through.
Yeah.
They had flooding around Wilcannia and fucking shit like that. So we planned that.
We did.
Fucking perfectly, we planned it, and
well, we did look at that because the original idea was the wet season up north. Yeah, and so I think basically probably 14 days out of 16 was nothing but beautiful weather.
nothing but beautiful weather. And you know, I copped one day of shit. But the other day, we got a little bit of rain. Like I said, it was only about 80 k's of light rain. That was easy. That was easy to cope with. So really, I only had one bad day. There was only 2 days where it was cloudy.
Yeah.
The rest of them were perfect. So you can't ask for anything better than that. And as I kept saying, you've got to take the bad days along with the good ones.
Yep.
You know, you can't have a good day every time. So that was good.
But we'll get together down the track and no doubt
Organise another one.
we'll be organising another one again.
Maybe.
Because
Maybe our Perth trip.
yeah, that could be.
That'd be a nice one to do because we've traversed the country north and south.
Yeah.
And to do it east to west.
Doing this together, you know, and we enjoy riding with each other.
So it's easy to do. It's not a hard trip to do.